it's so difficult when you grew up in a low income environment and you just witness emergency after emergency growing up. Don't be afraid to accept help. My uncle actually told me that, and he told me like if someone is extending an arm to you, it's because they could afford it. Like they're doing it because they want to be generous in that way, and it's within their means.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the SED Real Talk Corner, the podcast where Latino financial professionals and allies connect, share their stories, and lift each other up. Tune in every week or every month for inspiring conversations and real experiences by our community to share and make us grow stronger. I'm excited for you to hear today's story. I have a friend of mine that has done so much in so little time. I know you'll take something away with you that will make an immediate impact in your practice or life. So without further ado, I have Uziel Gomez, who is the founder and financial planner at Primeros Financial. He is currently the FPLA president. He is on the CNBC Digital Advisory Board. He is just killing it, and he's going to share a little bit of his story. And excited to have you join us.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, Uciel, I've got to know you a little bit, but for those that haven't got to know you, and I'd be wanted to see if you'd be sharing a little bit about your upbringing and how it's led you into this financial planning profession.
Yeah, absolutely. So Uziel Gomez, based out of LA, California, Canoga Park. For
Yeah,
those of you
yeah.
that don't know, it's like Guillermo and I live maybe 10 minutes away from each other and grew up in those relatively same neighborhood as well. So happy to meet a fellow matador and someone that who's also doing something great in the industry. So son of two hardworking immigrants, my parents migrated from Mexico so many years ago. I'm actually the youngest of four. So when people meet me, they think that I'm like the oldest. I'm actually the youngest, but I'm the first to attend college, graduate college, be in a professional setting, first to earn the income that I am earning, and now first entrepreneur as well in my immediate family. Like I said, come from a very humble beginning. My parents were actually really good with money, but it never went beyond saving for a rainy day. And there were like so many raining days growing up. My dad worked as, or actually works as a construction worker, and my mom was working at a factory until she got laid off in '08.
Mhm.
So, just from a background standpoint and from the component, the money story component, there's so many things that contributed to my upbringing and my relationship with money and like why I actually joined the industry. And it's because unfortunately, a lot of our people don't have that guidance because most of the people that we surround ourselves with are in a very similar path, right? They're also just trying to get by, living paycheck to paycheck, and people don't have the time to stop and think about life beyond the survival, right? Like we don't have
Yeah.
that luxury in our immediate community. So I really thought about like how can I bring this back into my community? How can I go and get a career or learn something that I could bring back in my community and
Mhm.
make an impact directly in my family as well.
Yeah, and that's stumbling upon is I relate to because we went to the same college, and we were made to choose, right? Either you're going to go the corporate finance
Yeah.
route, the financial planning route, which was something new that was just launched, right? Or do you want to go into like the real estate or insurance side? And
Yeah.
we both happen to pick the same the same path. Well,
Yeah.
curious to see why, like, what intrigued you
Well,
about it?
honestly, I was always into personal finance. Without
Yeah.
personal finance, I didn't know it was a thing. Two stories, Guillermo. One was that when I was 17, I was actually working at Vallarta down the street. You know which one,
Yeah.
Canoga and
Yeah.
Eaton.
Yeah.
And my friend at the time, who's still my friend, he was telling me like, oh, once you turn 18, it's going to be important to get your credit score. This is how, if you want to finance a car or finance anything, it's really important. And his information was so invaluable, but at the same time, it was limited. So what
Mm-hmm.
I ended up doing, I opened up this can of worms and I went down this rabbit hole, and I just got so intrigued with the credit system and how credit cards work, and then it opened up a
Mm-hmm.
whole world of personal finance. Well, fast forward a few years later, I still didn't, I always had that passion for finance, but I didn't know it was really a thing. I was actually working at a bank at the time, and at that point, I was like in a crossroads. I think my major was business administration. And I
Mm-hmm.
really wanted to learn more about like what are the different careers that I could pursue. And working at a bank, finance is a big component of it as well. And I realized like, okay, a lot of the people that are coming into the bank don't really have the financial knowledge or tool sets to navigate some of these things. So I saw the lack of education and literacy that is amongst our community and just in the general population. So I looked into finance as a major, and kind of like you said, it's like I think the options at my time were financial analysis, financial planning, and insurance. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, financial planning sounds cool, without knowing that it was like the personal finance component. So it all just like fell into place. And I was fortunate enough to enter the program, which was already approved by the CFP board. So I completed my undergrad, got my bachelor's degree, as well as completed the coursework for the CFP. And to be honest, at that time, Inga Timmerman had mentioned, professor of ours, for those of you that do not know, she had mentioned and talked about the CFP, right? And one of the things she said, like, if you become a CFP, you're almost guaranteed a job, like in the industry. So I was like, oh, I gotta do that. But one of the things she also said was it's a really, really difficult test. And I was like, oh, like I gotta challenge myself. Like I really want to challenge myself. So here I am now.
Couple years down the road. But you got the CFP mark. For those that can't see, he has it in a
Right over
plaque
here.
right next to him. Proud, proud, proud CFP.
Yes.
That's so good, so good. So, and it's kind of just similar upbringing that we hear a lot in our community. You know, first gen, breaking generations, first time wealth builders, and take and learning as you go. As you entered the profession, what are, how did that look like, and what did you learn along the way that kind of that you learned a little bit, but then there's a period where you kind of have a little breakthrough, you know?
Yeah.
As first gen, you learn, you kind of get your feet wet, and then boom, something happens.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit, any experience that resonates with that?
Um, I do. I think I do. But before I jump into that, one thing I do want to comment on that you said is like a very similar story to what
Yeah.
other people have encountered in our community. And that's the thing, like when you go out and share your story with outside a community that it doesn't know what we go through as first gen or son of immigrants or people of color, it's a very inspiring story, right? And one of the things that I often share with those people is like, oh, thank you. It is inspiring, but unfortunately, it's not unique. Like it's a very common
Hmm.
story amongst all of us. So I think that we share a lot of superpowers as first gen, like perseverance, grit, how to navigate life between two worlds, professional, low income. I still live in the same neighborhood that I grew up in, and it's a rough neighborhood, but I'm blessed to be able to navigate a professional world and a neighborhood that is very marginalized. So I just wanted to comment that as well. But to answer
So good.
to answer your question about the breakthrough, I would say that it was a compilation of a little bit of everything, to be quite honest. But the biggest thing that I've noticed that has helped me out through my career is by sharing my story, being
Hmm.
vulnerable and showing up and sharing my story. And to be honest, Guillermo, is like my dad taught me not to share my story. He told me like, you got to be prideful and you don't accept the handout, like you don't accept the gift. And that's one of the things that was very hard for me early on. I didn't want to accept help. Like I wouldn't apply for scholarships, I wouldn't apply for anything. And I didn't want to ever like come off as like, oh, charity, that someone's giving me
Hmm.
charity. My dad taught that, but I learned early on that by sharing your story and by being vulnerable is that you're able to touch more lives that way. You never know who is watching. You never know who is going through a difficult moment. And I love to share my story because through my story, I'm hopefully able to inspire someone like, hey, you could be here and think that everything is against you or you're at an advantage, but let me show you that I've been there and I've actually persevered and I'm in a much better place. So to answer your question, I think there's been like various breakthrough moments, but one of the things that I've been featured on was Financial Advisor magazine's Young Advisors to Watch. And at that point, I had just left my previous firm and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was contemplating launching my own practice. And it was like right in the middle of like, oh, I had a few job interviews and I was actually leaning towards launching my own thing. That's when they reached out like for the interview. And I was like, oh, how cool would it be to announce the launch of my practice with the announcement of like the future. So I was like, oh, I think it's just God's doing and God's timing for me to actually like go on and take this next step. So for me, that was a lot of gratitude and a lot of like God's doing.
Yeah, no, it kind of resonates with what you were just saying. You shared your story enough that someone saw you,
Yeah.
someone recognized you, and you earned your stripes along the previous firms you were at, and you know, launching it that way was so special. I know it meant a lot to you and your family, and congratulations on that. Talking about family, and we kind of touched on a little bit, but how has your upbringing and your culture like of your practice is primarily first gen, so
Yeah.
it ties in perfectly, right, to what the people you're serving. But as you've already started working with some people, have you noticed how your upbringing and your culture has positively affected how you're uh, bringing in the best version of financial planning for your clients?
Oh, absolutely. I'll share this story, Guillermo. There's so many of us that come from, or our parents come from a third world countries that don't have like a financial ecosystem established, or countries that you can't even trust, certain governments of bodies, and you usually don't put money in the bank because it can just magically disappear, unfortunately. So
Mm-hmm.
with that, there comes a lot of trauma and things that are passed down from generation to generation. So for you to I mean, I would say it's like majority of our parents, so the previous generation, are still unbanked, right? Like they still have money under the mattress, unfortunately, because they don't trust the government that they would do good by their money. So a lot of that fallacy, a lot of that cultural belief is passed down from generation to generation. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, there still are people that are our age that are not banked or don't believe in the financial ecosystem. So a lot of the times it's just bringing that cultural awareness and like teaching them, hey, the FDIC limit is this is how it works. This is how NCUA works, and your money is safe up to a certain limit. And if X, Y, and Z happens, this is what's going to happen to your money. So it's bringing in those lens. It's remembering like keeping it very simple and going back to like the roots. Another example I'll give you is that even as I was going through my coursework at CSUN, I've always had a part-time job or even a full-time job while I was in school. I knew I had to invest in a retirement account. Like I knew I had to start contributing. but I was so scared because, you typically can't grab from that money until you're 59 and a half. And even though I had an emergency fund, I was still scared because my thought process was, well, what if my dad gets injured and he can't work? Or what if my dad passes away and I have to come up with the money to pay for his funeral expenses? It was in the what if that didn't allow me to take that next step. But more than anything, it was a lack of um, I wouldn't say lack of knowledge because I had the knowledge. Like I was going through the coursework, I knew how it worked, but I guess it was a lack of cultural understanding, right? Like if
Hmm.
you were to come to me and explain it to me as a 19-year-old kid, if you told me like, hey, Uziel, you could contribute to your Roth IRA and you could grab from the principal if need be, I would completely understand it if you put it that way as opposed to the textbook example. So now
Yeah.
when I am helping my clients set up retirement accounts, we talk about what are the different ways to grab from. But more than anything, I explain to them like, hey, this is like your backup to your
But
backup to
goal.
your backup plan, right? Like this
Yeah.
is why we're setting up your emergency fund. This is why you have your insurances in place. This is why you have X, Y, and Z so that you don't have to grab from your retirement accounts. But let me also explain to you that you can in the worst case scenario, because the thought process of trying to lock money in and make it unaccessible, it's so difficult when you grew up in a low income environment and you just witness emergency after emergency growing up.
That's super insightful because you know what you're saying, like, I knew it, I knew the knowledge, but on a personal level, I couldn't apply it, right?
Yeah.
So being able to bring that to the conversation, I've been in the seat where you're at, you know, I
Yep.
had those same fears, I had those same concerns, but here are some practical ways that we can keep addressing those concerns, saving for this, saving for that, for those emergencies, but also trying to build for the future, trying to lay the new path for the new generation, right? So it's a balancing act that a lot of first gens are navigating, and so
Yeah.
that's your superpower, man. Like just trying to, hey, I lived it, I know where you're at, I'm still living it, I'm still
Yeah.
working through it. So that's awesome that you can bring that to our culture and our people.
Yeah.
But moving on to a little segment that I'm excited for. I kind of give you a hint. It's called La Verdad, the real talk moment, where we're kind of share some um, beliefs that people think about our culture, that people think about money, and something personal. Well, how's it like some struggles that you might be facing in your practice right now, where you're experiencing a little lag or a little roadblock. Um, so if you're open for it, let's get started.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do it.
What's one challenge right now that you are facing in your firm?
I think the biggest thing where I am in life right now is that things have gotten quiet. I actually just signed a new client a few weeks ago and hoping to sign another client. I had a prospect meeting today, so hoping to sign them as well. So it probably won't be as quiet in a few weeks, but it's been a little bit quiet since the beginning of the year. I onboarded most of my clients. I also transitioned over. There was a big transition within the setup of my firm as well. So between like December up until like end of February, things were like really hectic between, student loan planning, end of year planning, taxes, and everything else. So things have kind of gotten a little bit more quiet. And what's been challenging is like trying to kind of find what to do because there's always a lot to do, but at the same time being okay with like refueling and
Mm-hmm.
put and filling up my battery, if you will, again. Because what I've noticed since I've been in practice is that I get clients in waves. Like I won't get a single client in 2 or 3 months, but then I'll get five randomly in 1 month. So then I'll be working really hard for the next 2, 3 months, onboarding them and working long hours. And then again, 2, 3 months, it'll be quiet. I
Yeah.
think, giving myself grace and saying like, okay, well, you've been grinding for a lot for the past few months. Take a deep breath, take a week or two and then get back on it, right? I think finding the balance between the two has been a
Mm-hmm.
struggle, but more than anything, allowing myself to breathe after the fact of like the busy season has gone over because it's like always trying to stay busy, always having, your practice, how to improve your practice opportunities top of mind, even if I'm not in front of my desk, is a
Yeah.
constant struggle. But enjoying life right now is really good. I mean, before daylight savings, I would go for a run like at 8, 9 p.m. So like super dark. And then now that I have a little bit more time, I'm like, okay, let me go for a run when there's still light out.
That seasonality of our industry, right? It's definitely real. Right, right now it's tax season, so a lot. I'm at the opposite end. I feel like, hey, I need my 1099. Hey, I need this. Hey, what did I do
Yeah.
for taxes? Or it's a cost. The phone is ringing off the chain right now. But it's is there anything that the set community can do to help you in any way?
I mean, I think because we meet. So for those of you that don't know, Guillermo, Gloria, and Jaciel, we formed a mastermind many years ago, and they're really good friends. I see them as family. I think it's just like the community aspect of it all
Mhm.
is really helpful. So I'll
Yeah.
I'll pick up the phone and meet with someone who's a good friend of mine. I was gonna meet with Linda this afternoon, but we ended up postponing. So it's like I think I already have it, within reach. It's just a matter of like reaching out. But I think I already have that support right now. Yeah.
I was gonna nudge. I was gonna. I mean, look, we have a pretty cool relationship, but what I was open to like, hey, if you guys need a young planner who resonates with those people, like the people we just talked about, and they don't fit in your practice, hit up Uziel,
Yeah.
hit him up. He's taking
Yeah.
on new clients. He just said he's experienced a little slowdown, so he's got a little bit of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
but aside from that, you're that's your personal challenge. But what is um, one truth either about money or our culture or our profession, and that maybe outside non first gen people misinterpret?
I don't know about misinterpret per se, but I'll share this and kind of talked about this, but there's a rapper that he says in the song is like, I had to overcome the streets, I had to overcome the system, and I had to overcome poverty. And now I'm at the championship tour. And I
Mm-hmm.
love that so much because there's so many things that go into an upbringing of a first gen, overcoming the streets is like you grew up in a really rough neighborhood. Like you have to make sure that you're watching your back and it's like it's really dangerous out depending on the neighborhood you grew up in, right? It's like you had to overcome the system. It's like a lot of the system without getting into it too much is like it's not built for people like us. That's the reality, right? And they make it so complicated and so complex that it's really difficult to navigate it, right? So there's so many aspects that go into growing up as a first gen that it's like a first gen who's in a professional setting, who's graduated, who has a very successful career. It's like they did not get there by chance. They did not get there by luck. It's like they got there by design. It takes a lot to be in an environment that is not that does not teach you to go to school. It is
Yeah.
difficult being in an environment that doesn't teach you about life beyond just the survival. So it's like if you've already got into a place where you are the first, you graduated, you're in a professional setting, it's like you already are winning in life and you're meant to be there. It's like that shows grit, that shows perseverance, that shows so much that a lot of other people will not understand because you have not walked in the shoes.
Man, I can relate that so much personally on how long it took me to get here. Um, I've got to see some of our clients set up their kids for success to kind of their 529 plans. Everything's like here. They know they have the direction, right? Compared
Yeah,
to us, it's like I went to college, didn't like it, took a break, then came back, and then it's like our path, well, at least my path, was
yeah,
little longer to it. So I definitely agree with you. Where we had to go through our own path to break that system that isn't necessarily aligned for us.
yeah.
So man,
Yeah, and I mean, in hindsight, Guillermo, it's really hard to remember those days because like
yeah,
your whole life really turned around now. And I was talking to my godfather the other day. He's like, you remember how stressed out you would be. It's like you remember how scared you were that you would gonna graduate and you wouldn't even find a job. And I'm like, yeah, like when I was working at the bank, I would wake up at 6 in the morning to be at work by 8 in the morning, and then I would be getting home till like 10 or 11 p.m. because I had a night class
Night
afterwards.
classes.
So
Yeah.
it was like it was, from morning to night, working full-time job, being a full-time student. And then, like that's a really good story, right? Like, yes,
Yeah.
other people have it better, but other people have it worse. It's like there's people that have to
Yeah.
take care of their siblings. There's people that are raising kids at the age of
Kids.
15, 16, right? They're raising, and when I say kids, like they're raising their siblings because parents are working all day long. So fortunately enough, I've had the blessing to have a very supportive family, but other people don't have that. So again, it's like that perseverance, that grit, that's what it is to be a first gen.
Love that. And you know, uh, let's celebrate it. Let's celebrate like
Yeah.
our like where we're at right now. I love that. And what's one way you like to celebrate those wins?
Um, on the personal level, one of the things I like to do is like take a step back and ask myself, okay, like you just accomplished something big. There's something about, I don't know if it's a first gen thing. I think it is a first gen where it's like we accomplished something that we've been working for such a long time. And it's like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? Right?
Mhm.
Because we're so accustomed to
The
like
next goal.
keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Exactly. The goalpost is moving pretty frequently. So for me, I love to go out to eat, right? Like I've been watching what I eat and my intake and all of that. And so now when I do go out and eat, it's like, okay, we gotta celebrate and it has to be a restaurant where we could cheat this week, right? So that's where I like to go. I like to vacation as well. So it just depending on the circumstance and what we're doing, like to vacation, but mainly is like going out to eat, is definitely a way I like to celebrate.
What's your last favorite dish? Your most recent favorite dish?
My most recent favorite dish. Um, I would say I think enchiladas just come top of mind to be quite
Yeah.
honest, and it's also been something that I've been craving. Just like I love my mom's enchiladas, they're so good. But then I also like it from one specific restaurant, Añejo Cantina. I'm not sure you've been there. It's in Sherman Oaks. We went there. We went there. Yeah. We
Yeah,
went
yeah.
there, Gabby and Gloria
Yeah, that's
few
right.
years
That's
ago
right.
actually. Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
So
That's right.
that's my go-to. Which I think
All right.
it should be time to go
It should be
soon.
time to go. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love it. But a little bit about this episode, this podcast. We like to get to know how uh, the financial planners practice what they preach. Is there what's one thing you put in place either last year or this year that's that's something you tell your clients to do?
Yeah. So one of the things that I ask my clients at the beginning is, what is one activity or one thing that you like to do that like just zones you out? I think as human beings, we have that one thing that just like completely gets us out of reality, right? Like for me, it's boxing or going for a run. So that's usually what I ask clients so that I could also hold them accountable when life is just lifing and things are not going according to what you want it to be, right? So I would say that I try to preach it. I'm a better doing that at holding someone accountable than holding myself accountable, to be quite honest. What I would say is last year, I mean, Guillermo, is like I would get sick so often. Like if not with the exception of last year, but the years prior is like if you were to combine in one year how long I would get sick, it would combine up to like 2 months, and 2 months, that's a lot of time, right, in a given year. So last year, what I ended up doing, I subscribed to an IV drop where they would, inject me with a bunch of vitamins on a monthly basis. And dude, it's like I only got sick last year, and I was only out for like a week or so, but it definitely made a big difference in the way I could show
Mm.
up and like the way I practically got 2 months back out of the year. So that's one of the things I did implement, as well as, finding time to exercise throughout the day, even if things get really busy. So that's one of the things, not money related, but definitely something that money could be used as a tool to bring you that fulfillment, or in this case, investing in my health.
Yeah, health. Yeah, no, that's good. There's different types of investments, right? Into
Yeah.
so that health is definitely part of that. Um, well, one part of that our theme for set this year is elevating. We want to elevate one another, and what you just shared with us will help elevate one another in one way or another. But is there a individual that you're keeping an eye on or like what they're doing that you want to give a shout out?
I think I mean, I would say, and I'm completely biased here, is like Hasiel is really someone I look up to. Like he has a very unique lifestyle and like he is someone that carries himself with so much integrity. And if you ask him like, hey, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? And I would say ask him, like, I'm not gonna spoil it for you for the listeners. Like if you meet Hasiel or reach out to Hasiel, ask him like, what does your day look like? And you will be surprised and you would admire him so much. Just he stands by his integrity, by his beliefs, and he's someone that I really, really look up to. And for those of you that do not know Hasiel, I'll give you a spoiler. He doesn't have a bachelor's degree. He didn't pursue higher education. He actually went to trade school. And he was an electrician. So for him to go from an electrician to now being a lead advisor at his firm is just a phenomenal story. Honestly, it's like talk about perseverance and taking no for an answer and really making his own path. He really created his own path. So that's someone that I
Yeah,
always look up to. And I love just having a conversation with him.
love that. And that's shout out Hasiel. We're gonna send you DM to come out on the show. But let's end it with some rapid fire questions,
Let's do it.
Lucian. Um, let's see. What's one habit that helped you succeed uh, last year or this year?
Delayed gratification.
Delayed
Delayed
gratification.
gratification. Yeah, whether it's food, whether it's splurging, whether it's whatever, delayed gratification. So one of the things that I tell my clients is like, do you rather go out to eat, three, four times a week, three, four times a month, or would you rather take an extra vacation and save that money, right? Like delayed
Yeah,
gratification to do the things that you want to do. And it's okay if you choose like, no, I rather, go out and eat every single day or whatever. But being able to practice delayed gratification is going to really take you a long way, whether it's again, eating, spending money, whatever it could be. That's one of the habits for sure.
I love that. What's one book or resource, podcast, anything that has recently impacted you?
I would say book. I've probably read this already three times or so. The Psychology of Money. Oh,
Mm,
just phenomenal book. Phenomenal book. Yeah.
yeah. And what's the best piece of advice you've received along your journey?
I think don't be afraid to accept help.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to accept help. My uncle actually told me that, and he told me like if someone is extending an arm to you, it's because they could afford it. Like they're doing it because they want to be generous in that way, and it's within their means. And that really changed my perspective in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And that kind of goes into the last one where I want you to kind of finish my sentence. It's more likely no advisors would succeed in this profession if,
If there was unity.
oh, that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Exactly.
I love that. So SAD literally aims for that. That is our target. That's our goal. Unity. Oh man. What about it though? What about it? Like what does that unity mean to you?
Just being united, honestly, having someone that you could just call, having someone that you could just hang out with. Um, I went to Phoenix, Arizona, I think it was in November, and Eric, I can't remember his last name. Is it Eric Lopez? You know who I'm talking about, right? TPA. He messages me, he responds to my story on Instagram. He's like, "Hey, how long are you here for? Like, you want to get some dinner tomorrow?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." He's like, "We didn't even talk about business. We did not talk about anything." He's like, "We just talked about life. We just talked about family." And I think that's that's what it's all about, right? Like I don't go into an office, I work on my own, I work by myself. So it was like if I'm not meeting with clients, I'm not really fostering any relationships or really talking to people or interacting with people. And that's what unity is all about, having someone that you could just call, whether it's to vent, to bounce ideas off of one another.
Mhm.
And then, unity in the space of being connected, whether we have different philosophies, different ideas, different skin color, different political views, whatever it is like being united and respecting each other's opinion.
I love that. I love that. And that aligns with so much with, again, what we're trying to do at SER. And it, if you haven't joined us at SER, I think that if you come to Denver this year, you'll experience unity.
Absolutely.
Uziel, thank you so much for your time, brother. Uh, thank you much for sharing your story. We look forward to keeping an eye on you and your success. So thanks again.
Thanks so much for having me.
And if you aren't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on whatever podcast platform you're on or on YouTube, so you stay connected with us. You continue to get to know our community so we can continue to get united. See you in Denver.